Imagine this. You're sitting at your favorite cafe, the same one you visited every Saturday for years. But today, there's something different. Someone new walks in. Your eyes meet. You smile, maybe just a little longer than usual. And then, they smile back. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to lead anywhere. But didn't your heart just flutter for a second? What you just experienced is what scientists might call a microconnection, and what the rest of us might call a flirt. Let's get one thing out of the way. Flirting is not just for the young. It's not only for dating or romance. And it's definitely not something that stops when you turn 60, 70, or even 90. In fact, researchers are now telling us something extraordinary. A little bit of lighthearted flirting might be one of the healthiest things you can do in your golden years. So why don't we talk about it more? Simple, because we were told not to. Somewhere along the way, society decided that aging meant quieting down, dimming the sparkle, behaving. But here's the truth. Aging isn't the end of your charm. It's the perfect time to use it differently. Flirting after 70 isn't about being seductive. It's about being present, being playful, being you. Many seniors avoid it because they fear being misunderstood or seeming inappropriate. But most of those fears come from outdated expectations, not from real danger. Light flirting is not about crossing lines. It's about lighting up your day and sometimes someone else's. Take Harold, 78. He flirts with the grocery cashier every Saturday morning. Nothing dramatic, just compliments her earrings, cracks a joke about his stubborn tomatoes, and wishes her a sweet weekend. She starts smiling when she sees me now, he says. And I leave smiling too. That's what this is all about. Flirting is joy disguised as conversation. It's a playful nudge to the world that you're still very much here. But isn't flirting for teenagers? That's the myth, isn't it? We grow up thinking flirting belongs to youth. That it's about attraction, romance, maybe even competition. But in reality, flirting is simply a signal. I see you. I enjoy this moment with you. And that kind of connection? It never gets old. Even a simple gesture, putting on a little lipstick, straightening your collar, making a witty comment, can create a moment of delight for both you and someone else. It doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't even need a response. Sometimes it's just about reminding yourself, I'm still here. I still matter. I can still make someone smile. And when you do that, you unlock something beautiful. Let's talk about what flirting actually does to your brain and why your body absolutely loves it. Flirting activates a cocktail of brain chemicals that science has been fascinated with for years: oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. Together, these are often called the happiness trio, and they're critical for seniors. Here's what they do. Oxytocin helps you feel connected, calm, and emotionally safe. Dopamine gives you a rush of pleasure, excitement, and motivation. Serotonin stabilizes your mood, helps you feel satisfied, and even improves sleep and digestion. And the best part? You don't need romance or grand gestures to trigger them. Sometimes, a quick compliment, shared laughter, or even friendly eye contact is enough to kickstart this joyful internal storm. A group of researchers in the UK looked at seniors who had frequent small, positive social exchanges, like chatting with a neighbor, sharing a joke, or flirting lightly. They found that those who experienced just 3 warm moments per day had lower blood pressure, better sleep, less loneliness, sharper short-term memory. And the real kicker? The strongest benefits were seen in those who said their conversations had a playful tone. In other words, when it felt like flirting, even if it wasn't romantic, their bodies responded positively. You might be thinking, do I really need that kind of interaction at my age? Yes, you absolutely do. The brain never stops needing stimulation. Flirting is a gentle, exciting way to remind your brain, hey, pay attention. This is fun. That moment of connection lights up your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles attention, planning, and personality. It also nudges your reward system, delivering a tiny natural high. No side effects, no prescription. Even 5 seconds of flirty interaction can brighten your mood for the rest of the afternoon. In one fascinating study, brain scans of seniors were taken while they were alone, and again during positive conversations. The difference was stunning. During isolation, areas tied to memory, mood, and motivation were barely active. But after even brief interactions, their brains lit up, especially in regions responsible for emotional regulation and movement. So yes, flirting can literally lift your spirits and help you walk a little taller. Now let's talk about how flirting impacts your emotional health and why it may be one of the simplest tools for fighting loneliness. Emotional loneliness isn't always about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, unheard, unimportant. And unfortunately, it's something many seniors experience far too often. But the moment someone flirts with you, or you flirt with them, you feel noticed. Even if just for a second, you're no longer invisible. You're part of something shared, spontaneous, human. And here's the science. Flirting activates areas of the brain linked to social belonging, which in turn lowers levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Less cortisol means better immune response, fewer aches and pains, improved digestion, lower inflammation. Think of that moment when someone laughs at your joke, even a bad one, or when you say, "That scarf looks amazing on you," and their whole posture lifts. These are micro moments of human connection, and your brain eats them up. In fact, studies show that people over 70 who engage in regular, playful exchanges, even brief ones, report higher resilience against depression. They bounce back faster after bad days. They feel more optimistic, more sociable, and even more physically energetic. And it doesn't have to be loud or bold. Sometimes the smallest gestures carry the most meaning. There's something magical about those little sparks of connection. But what if it's been a while? What if you're not even sure how to flirt anymore? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. So, how do you flirt gracefully? The answer is simpler than you might think. Because good flirting, at any age, isn't about being sexy. It's about being present, warm, and just a little bit playful. Flirting is not a performance. It's not about looking for a date. It's about giving attention in a way that makes both people feel seen. Let's start with something many people underestimate: eye contact. Looking someone in the eyes while you smile tells them you're there. Holding that gaze for one heartbeat longer than usual? That's flirting. Subtle, safe, kind. And then comes the compliment. It doesn't have to be poetic. It doesn't have to be clever. It just has to be honest. That color looks great on you. Your laugh made my day. You've got a wonderful way of walking into a room. These small phrases are like tiny gifts. They cost nothing, but they stick with people. The next ingredient? A sense of humor. But not the kind that tries too hard. Flirting humor is gentle. It's the kind that makes people smile instead of blush. You're not trying to impress, you're trying to connect. You always wear that hat? Or is it just to impress the tomatoes at the market? A little cheekiness goes a long way. It makes life feel more alive. And here's something else to remember. Tone matters. The way you say things, your expression, your posture, all of it tells the other person whether you're being playful or serious. Keep your voice light, your posture open, and your energy curious. Now, let's talk about one of the most underrated tools of flirtation: body language. You don't need grand gestures or dramatic movements. Sometimes, it's as small as tilting your head while listening, leaning in slightly, gently touching your own necklace or glasses while speaking. These signals say, "I'm enjoying this interaction." And believe it or not, they work even if you've been married for 40 years. Because flirting isn't just for meeting someone new, it can also reawaken old sparks. Take Elaine and Frank, both 82. They've been married for over 50 years. Every Sunday morning, Frank compliments Elaine's earrings, even though she wears the same pair most weeks. Elaine always replies, "You're just saying that." And Frank winks, because it's still true. That's flirting. It's not about changing who you are. It's about remembering the part of you that still likes to sparkle. Let's make this real. What does flirting actually look like in everyday situations? You're in line at the post office. You turn to the person behind you and say, "If we keep waiting here much longer, I think we'll be invited to the staff holiday party." That's flirting. You're reaching for a peach at the market. Someone else reaches too. You smile and say, "Now, that's what I call good taste." That's flirting. Flirting isn't always about the words. It's about tone, timing, and intent. It's the difference between "nice shirt flat" and "that shirt makes you look like you own the place" playful wink. And it matters more than you think. Because every time you choose to be warm, clever, or lighthearted in a moment of everyday life, you're flexing your social muscles. Muscles that keep you mentally sharp and emotionally alive. Let's talk about touch for a moment. We often avoid it in older age, afraid it will be misread or inappropriate. But gentle, respectful touch is incredibly powerful. A light tap on the shoulder. A quick touch to the elbow when laughing. A brief pat on the hand. These small gestures say, I see you. I like you. I trust you. They also release oxytocin, reduce blood pressure, and deepen human connection, often more than words do. But let's also be honest. There's a right way and a wrong way. Here's a simple guide. Flirting done right. Happens in the moment. Feels light and natural. Leaves both people smiling. Flirting done wrong. Tries too hard to impress. Feels one-sided or forced. Crosses someone's comfort zone. It's not about pushing boundaries. It's about connection. And connection doesn't always come with sparks or butterflies. Sometimes it's just a shared smile over a silly situation. That's enough. You don't need perfect lines. You don't need youth. All you need is a little courage and a willingness to make someone's moment brighter. And if you're not sure whether you've just flirted or not, that's okay. If you felt a spark of joy, even for a second, it counts. Flirting isn't about outcome. It's about aliveness. Let's address something a lot of people secretly wonder. What if I look silly trying to flirt at my age? That fear is real, but it's also unnecessary. Because real flirting, the kind we're talking about, isn't flashy or theatrical. It's a quiet confidence. A small twinkle that says, I still care. I still notice. I still have joy to give. No one thinks it's silly when an older person smiles kindly, gives a warm compliment, or makes someone laugh. You know what people think? I want to be like that when I'm their age. You don't lose your charm as you get older. You earn a deeper, more effortless kind of charm, one built on experience, grace, and authenticity. It's not about trying to be younger. It's about staying curious, expressive, and beautifully human. Look at the people around you. The woman who holds herself with quiet pride. The man who greets strangers like old friends. The neighbor who tells a clever joke and waits for the laughter. They're not trying to get something. They're simply giving something, a moment of brightness. And every time you offer that, whether you're 65 or 95, you're reminding the world that light never gets old. Take Clara, 76. She was recently widowed and told herself she'd never feel seen again. Until one morning, waiting at the pharmacy, she joked with the man next to her about how slow the line was. He replied, maybe they know we're the interesting ones and want to keep us around longer. She laughed, and for the first time in months, felt alive. That wasn't a love story, but it was a moment. And for Clara, that moment changed something. Sometimes, flirting is not about chemistry, it's about permission. Permission to be yourself again, to feel attractive, to feel truly seen. And more than anything, it's about reclaiming your spark. Because the world doesn't always treat older people like they matter. But when you flirt, lightly, kindly, playfully, you're saying, I still do. You're saying, I'm not invisible. I'm not done. I'm still part of life's conversation. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Now, what if you could give yourself that feeling today? What if you could try something simple, light, and joyful, just to see what happens? We'll give you 5 gentle ways to practice flirting in everyday life. No pressure, no awkwardness, just fun. Because the best way to rediscover your spark is to light it yourself. You've listened. You've smiled. Maybe you've even remembered a moment when someone made you feel charming, clever, or just a little sparkly. Now it's time to ask, what if you gave yourself permission to create that moment today? Flirting doesn't require courage. It requires curiosity. It's not about chasing attention. It's about offering it. So here are 5 simple, gentle ways to start flirting again. Without pressure, without expectations, and without ever having to say, am I doing this right? 1. Give a compliment with a twist. Instead of saying, nice hat, try, that hat makes you look like you own a jazz club. Make it specific, playful, slightly unexpected. You're not flattering, you're delighting. 2. Ask a fun question. Let's say you're at the cafe. Ask someone, if you could only drink one beverage for the rest of your life, coffee or wine. It's light. It's not personal. It creates an opening. And best of all, it invites a smile. 3. Make eye contact a moment longer than usual. Don't stare. Just linger. Let the other person know you're fully there. Pair it with a smile, and you've just brightened both your days. 4. Share a lighthearted observation. You're in the grocery store and someone grabs the last bag of your favorite cookies. Say, "You've got excellent taste. I was about to make a very convincing argument for why that belongs to me." See what happens. Chances are they'll laugh. And now you're sharing a moment. 5. Tease gently about something ordinary. You notice someone is reading the same magazine you just finished. Say, "Page 37 broke my heart. Let me know if you recover." It's a soft nudge, not a performance. And it tells the world, I still know how to have fun. These 5 approaches are like a starter kit. You don't need to use all of them. You don't need to plan them out. Just try one. Today, try it with someone you know, or someone you don't. Try it on a walk, in line at the bakery, during a phone call with an old friend. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to feel open. Because flirting isn't a performance, it's a mindset. You don't have to go far to flirt. You don't have to be bold or beautiful or brilliant. You just have to be willing to show up in the moment with warmth and let someone else feel it, too. That's what flirting really is. Not a pickup line, not a strategy. It's the gift of attention freely given. And the moment you give it, you feel more alive. Because you see, the people who flirt in their 70s and 80s, they're not foolish. They're not trying to be young again. They're the ones who refuse to stop noticing life. The ones who understand that connection keeps us awake, curious, human. They flirt with the world, not to get something, but to keep something, their sense of play. Flirting can be as small as asking someone how their day was and meaning it, as simple as wearing a brighter color, as quiet as smiling at a stranger who clearly needed one today. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a plan, just a spark, a tiny flicker of your own spirit. You've lived a full life. You've seen change, loss, beauty, and joy. And the fact that you're still here, still listening, still interested, that's your proof. You're still alive inside. So why not show it? Smile a little wider. Compliment someone's laugh. Tease an old friend. Say something that lights the moment. That's all flirting is. And it's still yours to enjoy. So go ahead. Surprise yourself. Because if you're still flirting, you're still glowing. And the world could use more of that.